Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome to Authentic Glow Coaching, where we put the cute in client confidence. So, summer vlog, okay, I want us to focus on recycled items. I've been finding myself with spring vlogs geared towards recycling as themes to build systems because it's something strange about feeling like, okay, I have something, but I just want to throw it out. I'm just going to throw it away. And I read this before. Girls feel like it's cool to have an abundance, but they're so fearful, like, I don't really deserve this, so I'm just going to give it to this person. Or I'm just going to make sure that I can find a different space besides where I'm at to actually hold this particular type of energy because it's easier for myself to get away with that type of attitude. Whether that means it's garbage day. Okay, cool. We're gonna just throw it, and have it come and take right on off to the infields and landfilling, and that's gonna be the end of that scenario. But what happens to that energy that we try so hard to cultivate and then we just watch it go on down the road? We're going to talk about that today in this particular spring vlog. So, I'm going to give you examples of how I feel as though those recyclables, instead of giving out, has actually aided in our abundant nature and ease of creating our systems. So, our systems means that this simple day to day preference. We have breakfast, lunch, dinner. How can I streamline that system of habit to actually have less waste and more energy? And I like to call it having less thinking about where this item is supposed to have been at, or thinking about what can I do with this item and where this item is going to go because I refuse to hold on to this particular item. So instead, I choose to give it away. So that looks very distinct and unique. So this is what that attitude looks like. So I have some abundance. I'm receptive of this abundance. I've received this abundance, and now this abundance has come into one's possession. And I have a few choices. I can neglect it. I can give it away to whatever, the trash day, trash men. I can host, I don't know, multiple giveaways, or I can just be like, hey, you want this or you need that or whatever. I can do everything within my power to actually sit with this particular type of energy. Now, that again calls for much more than what is necessary. Our professor used to say all the time, I used to do these particular problems, and I had a math course and I had to do all of these workings to find these answers. And sometimes he would straight up say, particularly speaking, I didn't have to go through all that. And I was like, okay, I took that to heart. I heeded that. So that's where we're going to focus for these 8 minutes. So systems is how I choose to utilize this abundance. Systems looks like using something that's easily tossable to actually make the process and system of feeding one's daughter more streamlined. That means that there's less thinking patterns and more focus and energy towards helping the whole entire process of having a dinner system in place that is actually something that is done and accomplished in the first place. And that has allowed for us to cross this task off efficiently. Okay. And when I say efficiently, this is how you accumulate wealth. And not only just accumulating, because accumulation is key. Materializing material wealth, material possessions, they are things that are accumulated because that reflects your abundance in your material possessions, your wealth. And that also aids in your relationships. It's like you put a deposit into a relationship instead of turning your back on it and growing frustrated to that point where that frustration leads into more insidious thoughts. Okay, insidious thoughts is just like the horror films. I've been totally cutting back on horror films. I've been doing PG movies only. All my Harry Potter raves, girlies, y'all know that's like totally a thing. I think Jasmine Turner may have been one of the girls who was saying something about she's getting ready to put on Harry Potter or something. I could be snowballing. I don't know, whatever. But that's what I had recalled. That's just what it is. So moving forward, when you think about how you necessarily want to build that particular type of wealth and energy, and having those deposits into your relationships with your loved ones. For particular speaking, this is from Joyce Meyer. She's always really ranting and raving about how that's such a big idea, that's such a big thing to have deposits. So therefore you're drawing from things that actually are putting you on, instead of always drawing from things that is unable to fill your cup because it's empty, that drains. And that's how you really learn to make your systems that you have actually work for what it is that we think about. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I put the time and effort into building relationships with our own daughter. I take that time out to really do mother daughter dates. I have an idea in mind now that I really want to do. I know sometimes the girlies are like, you depressed, and you realize now that you're alone in that thinking pattern. I want to be around happy women. So when somebody asks me, is you depressed? And I go ahead on and pack up my car and I go out into the sunshine. I'm at Creighton Bureau, I'm at CB2, figuring out what these different interconnections are. Now they answered their own questions. You depressed? If I'm depressed, most likely you want to sit in bed all day. You don't really want to go out. You have the windows drawn, the curtains are blacked out. So now you answer that question for yourself. So I don't have to really explain myself any longer, because systems are put into place. I have a calendar, I have a reminder app that repeats every month the day that I am supposed to have did these things. When I scratch something off, in that process, as it's getting scratched, that means that was necessary. Something had took place, whether it's a few days before, a few days after, ultimately doesn't matter. The only thing that actually mattered was that we built that bond and we shut the haters down, because we have systems in place. Our reminders are there to set those, and I take those off. I take pride and pleasure, and I romanticize that particular habit. And this is exactly why that happiness is so ingrained, that now becomes an added reward system, and being able to conduct ourselves that way. As I deposit those memories into our daughter's memory bank, and I need to draw something from there, I can simply just go ahead on and say, well, okay, remember that time though that you blew down? And this is something that's necessarily uh, a moment in time where you didn't even really need to do all of that, but yet that was a decision nonetheless to begin with. So you pull from that particular type of withdrawal, and you deposit that particular type of energy. That's the system. When you have places and you've been trying to figure out, how am I going to scale, how am I going to survive, how am I going to thrive beyond these next immediate few months, quarters one and quarters two, you start to utilize your systems. You start to put systems in the forefront, because you manifested them, that actually help you scale your quarters one and two, three, four, and five, and then however many other ones that you see fit within the next foreseeable future. And that's how you cultivate a resilient mindset and a thinking pattern for yourself, for the generations that are coming before and after us. And by utilizing that particular type of spirit, you find that you are set apart, that you can be a successful young lady who manifests and has a husband and has a children, has a degree, and you are realizing now that having a willingness to sacrifice one for the other is unnecessary, mind you. And what does our people say? And if you know, you know. And now you have that culture there that is a reminiscent of what it is that we built. So that's our spring vlog. I hope you all have liked this video. I encourage you all to subscribe, like, and comment. Follow us on our other social platforms as well. Visit our Etsy shop and follow our books as well. Buy our books. They are on some of those links, so make sure you check those links out as well. So easier when you have systems in place with your wealth and abundance, that requires less thinking and means more energy. Because especially as a young lady myself, I work, I take care of our daughter, I have parentals that are constantly in the forefront of some kind of things that are going on, and that requires energy. I know that ladies love Tyler Perry. I know that Tyler Perry is a really great actor and comedian, and that he's always speaking about he needs, or Medea necessarily, so to speak, needs more oxygen. She's always in need of oxygen. And that's cool and all. But myself, as a young lady, as we think about what we need for myself, okay, as a business owner, as a young lady who has these many hats, I need energy. And when I can find the energy that I need to accomplish these tasks, tick, 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 there's a sense of accomplishment there. So that's ultimately what we wanted to share for this particular spring vlog. I hope this has been something that has been happy moment for you all. So we put the cute in client confidence, okay? Because our clients simply glow. Welcome to Glow Ticket Topics, where we have the conversations that truly matter. Again, like, follow, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments what is something that actually stood out. What is something that you're going to streamline to put in place to help improve your systems. And I'll chit chat with you all again soon. We're signing off in pink and green cuteness, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye.